Hey guys, Sylv here and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnought. Today I'm destroying a full fleet, and you can decide what sort of warship you're going to build to sink this group of ships. It's two different battleships. As you can see, it's not just two BB, but one BB, comma, another. So we're going to have two different battleship classes that we're fighting. A battlecruiser, a heavy cruiser, a light, and three destroyers of two different classes. We don't need to sink everything, just 70%, and we have 2.5 hours to do that with. I've already completed the mission once, and that was off screen with the enhanced firepower. Now I'm going to try and go for survivability and maneuverability. Get a little bit more speed, try to either outrun them or keep them close, and with that gun them down. So let's start. Now the Dreadnought 4 hull works, I know that, but I want to experiment a bit more, so I'm going to go for Battlecruiser 3. These things are a lot sleeker, usually I think that gets more speed. I mean, if you have a look at this, currently in the middle says 24 knots, whereas the battlecruiser says 35.5. That is a lot of speed, and probably a lot more than I might need. Now, since I'm going for a battlecruiser, my displacement is going to be less, but I also will be able to build more. So with the Dreadnought 4, even at minimum or half displacement, I'm going to be building 54 tons, 6 battleships. Whereas with the battlecruisers, I started with 9, with only a displacement of 33,000. This is not going to be any sort of historical design, or at least not that I will be aware of. The historical designs I've tried, but I just really haven't been able to do it. I tried to build a Bismarck, and it didn't really work. And I tried to build something like an Iowa/Missouri class. It didn't really work. I just can't really get the right hull. And some of the hulls sort of work, but most of them just don't really look like what I want them to be. Alright, at least 2 main guns needed. Now we can go all the way up to 16 inch, but I have found that for this mission 15 inch is plenty, especially considering that we're going to be building more ships than one. These are, however, the Mark I guns, so they are going to be a little less in performance than, for example, the 14 inch Mark III. Which are going to be getting a lot better reload time. This is 62 seconds versus 122. That's almost double the reload. Of course, you're going to be sacrificing... Oh, actually, you're not even sacrificing range. These have better range than the 15-inch. So let's go for a couple of 14-inch guns. Preferably in a double format, but I'm not sure if that's going to fit on this ship. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to fit a 14-inch gun on this... Yep, there it is, on that turret. How exactly that turns, that's pure magic. I'm not sure how that turret would be able to freely turn, considering how close it is to that tower. But let's just run with it. In case you're wondering, why do I go for the double barrel instead of the triple barrel, I like the double barrel design more. Yes, I know the triple design can be more accurate. Its stats don't really represent it, but you're firing 3 guns instead of 2. Anyway, I'm going to go with the double 14-inch. I don't think I'll be able to fit another one on the bow, but I will be able to fit at least one more on the stern, which is kind of going with what I have in mind for the design. Because I want to be kiting away from the enemy, and in the meanwhile just keep hitting them with 14-inch guns. And if I have 6 battlecruisers to do that with, then that should be plenty. Of course, we're going to have to be doing some upgrading. Crop 4 is going to save quite a bit of weight. I can go all the way up to diesel engines, which saves on the engine weight, but goes up with the engine cost. It does, however, get less engine damage chance. That is something that I find rather important here. Because the more chance my engines are damaged, the more chance I'm going to be lagging behind. And with that, I'll be an easier target. So we're going to go for diesels, and yes, you can have coil-fired diesel engines. It does not make sense, and they might still change that, I don't know. For now, you can do this weird stuff. I don't believe that the oil-fired boilers are going to be too important. I think that you're only really going to be looking at these 2 separate items when you're going for the campaign, which at this time is not out yet. And when you have semi-oil and oil, you can get a lot more fuel stowage, so your ship can just go farther. At least as far as I get from the subtext here. Speaking of range, I don't need any. But I will need bulkheads. A lot of them. I'm going to try and aim for 3 battlecruisers. That's going to be the goal. So I can go to about 40,000 of cost. Alright, so we got the Krupp armor. Detonation of these things is always an issue. So let's go for the maximum barbette thickness. And initially I thought that the barbette is just this part, but apparently it goes all the way down to the deep hull of the ship. We do have a pretty hefty 4 weight offset though. That might be down to my main island, or my main tower, which is too far ahead. But I don't think I can really pull it back if I move the funnels and the tower back. So I just have to make sure that the 14-inch gun on the stern is going to be further to the back. 4 weight offset, 0.7, 0.1. Maybe I can even fit another one in there. Now we're going to have an aft weight offset. That's something I can live with. Because if I angle, say like this, I would have 3 turrets on the stern, which are all capable of firing every currently 53 seconds. And if I throw on an additional reload option, standard reloading to semi-auto, that goes down to 38 seconds. So that's a lot better. Alright, ammo type, or rather propulsion type. Let's go for high TNT. That means I get 3 battlecruisers, which again, for me, is fine. Unfortunately, no radar. That might really cut into my accuracy. So let's try to compensate with that with the maximum amount of range finding, which is going to be the rangefinder, stereoscopic rangefinder 4, aimed at long range accuracy. Now I know that there's cruisers, I know that there's battleships. The battleships should be getting taken down by the 14-inch, but the cruisers maybe not so much. In the case-made guns, I can install 8-inch guns. Not really a big fan of their stats, but let's say at 5 kilometers out, they might incidentally hit a target. More by accident than by design, probably, but you never know. So let's install a couple of those. Could I fit a 6-inch between there, or is that just too close to that 8? Not even a 4-inch is going to fit, not even a 2-inch, so no, that just doesn't work. Now I have an aft weight offset. I don't really think that there's much that I can do about that. Although I might be able to bring the forward gun, since I don't really need a barbette anyway, further forward. There, now I have an aft weight offset of 0.1. Okay. What else would I need? Because I still have a bit of budget, and I still have quite a lot of weight. So let's see what we can do with that. A couple of electric turrets would work. I'm going to go for a turtleback armor scheme. This should help with deflection for shells that enter or that penetrate the hull. This type of secondary armor shields the hull internals in a balanced manner. So turtleback armor. Anti-flood system. Let's go for anti-flood 2. Standard bulkheads, now I'll take reinforced. You just never quite know what you're going to be taking on for damage. An anti-torpedo bulge or torpedo protection. Let's go for torpedo 2. So that if the ships take a hit, they'll be able to live. That is rather important since I need to have, I'm not even sure if it's 100% alive, but you need a lot of survivability on these ships. Oh, and I can go for forced boilers to get even more funnel capacity. Now it's overweight. Induced. Funnel efficiency is only 65%. That's pretty bad. If I go for full oil burners, I'm still at budget. But no, I'm actually slightly over budget. But my engine efficiency is 88%. You can go for force, that's when I'm at 100, but now I'm down to 2. So I need to save something somewhere. I guess I'm just going to have to live with the fact that my engine efficiency is not going to be stellar. 81.6, well, it's going to have to be enough. I'm going to take a increased ammo complement. That should give each gun 270 rounds. And between all of those, that I hope should be enough ammo. Standard shells, I don't think I'm going to need anything like heavy or super heavy. Or at least I'm going to try doing it without it. And armor-wise, I can tack on a little bit more armor. But once again, cost could be the issue here. Let's put a bit more turret armor on. 2 inch, maybe 2.5? No, 2.5 is a bit too much. There. 2.4 inch top turret armor, which gets a 100% bonus, so it's 4.8. Alright, we are the Lanzau class battlecruiser. Aft weight offset 0.8. I think I can live with that. That should not interfere with my accuracy too much. There you go, now it's even perfectly distributed. It's a weird design, I'll grant you that. It is a weird design. 4 turrets, mostly stern, so ideal for kiting away from enemy warships. Let's do exactly that. No idea if this is going to work. Could see me fail horribly, but that is what I like about the game. Sometimes you just design something and it doesn't work, and you learn. And I've had plenty of comments of people saying, hey, it's not historical. No, it's not. It's a game. It doesn't need to be historical. And sure enough, if you want to build historical ships, to some extent you can. It works, mostly. But I generally quite like it not to have all of these historically accurate warships. Oh, maybe I could have saved on speed. They're doing 36 knots at most. So that might be a little bit more than I need. I'm going to go for line abreast. We already got first rounds coming in. Apparently their rangefinder is better than mine. Why line abreast? Because with that I get most of these guns firing at the stern. Potentially. I will have to close in a little bit to find out where exactly they are. Yeah, we know that they're to the southeast. But where? What are you doing? Lovely. AI pathfinding might need some work. What? You're gonna do it again? More and more rounds are coming in. In a previous encounter with this group, I have seen that they are fan of 18-inch guns. And if you tack on radar, you could get a really, really lethal warship. Because they're going to be accurate at long range, and battlecruisers sometimes have a tendency to just blow up. I don't like it when it happens, but sometimes it just does. Seems like we're getting shells from over here, this area. So far I'm not even sure who they're targeting, the Lanzau or the Nanchong. Finally, the Lanzhou, the Nanchong, and the Zhangjiagang are more or less lined up. Took them long enough. Finally, we got something. The enemy seems to be pretty heavily armed. Firing at a very high elevation. That's both of their warships. Seem to be Dreadnoughts. Now you can see that this one has a different design. Sure enough, it has the same 4 double turret layout, but their secondaries are different. They got one secondary here and one there. This one has a couple of secondary slash off-center guns over to the port and starboard, but in double formats. Now my chance to hit is not great, but we're going to be firing anyway, just to get a bit of early ranging in. Let's switch it to 5 times. See, I need to get close, and then I need to turn around and get all those aft guns going. For now, I just have the bow guns on probably all the battlecruisers. I'm going to get to about 16, turn around, and slow down. Let them chase me down. 17.4. Of course, their destroyers and cruisers are probably going to be chasing right for me right about now. Jeez, the game does not understand how I want to have this formation. Just line ahead then. Alright, time to turn. in the hopes that these ships are not all going to be running into each other. Oh, these formations need a bit of work. Okay, we seem to have done our little bit of damage on this warship, whatever it is. Still in the process of identifying that. For me, it's not really important what I'm shooting. For me, it's important where I'm shooting it. Let's go to 16 knots. I think I didn't upgrade my turret traverse much. And I'm now reaping the rewards of that. Because now my turrets are taking a lot more time to get on target. There we go. That's the Nanchong firing. Their accuracy is 6-1, so that's livable. The Zhejiangong has an accuracy of 4-5. Still working up. Reload seems really good on these things. Really good. That's going to help me in fighting the cruisers. Alright, we're learning a bit more about this ship now. The game thinks it's a heavy cruiser, but it's not sure. I don't really think that this is going to be classed as a heavy cruiser. This is very much a battleship. I do wonder, however, what my ship... Yeah, my ships are firing AP. I want to be firing HE. Because AP, I think, is just not going to penetrate. Although the game says I have a 20% chance to pen. That's impressive. And a lot more than I was expecting. Okay, I've had it with these formations. Lanzhou this way, Nanchong this way. And Zhenjiang over to the right as well. Oh, we got our first hit. Lanzhou's on fire. Now, here come the destroyers or the light cruiser. I'm not sure which one comes up first. That seems to me like a destroyer. Very much a destroyer. Expected accuracy is about 7%. I'm going to let the Zhejiang take care of the destroyer. Which is probably going to take a bit of work. Especially to get locked on. The 8-inch secondaries are also joining in at this stage. But again, my expectations of these are exceedingly low, considering they have an accuracy of 1%. It is going to go up over time, but it's going to take quite a bit of time to get there. Shit. Damage to main tower, fire control damaged. I'm going to notice that in accuracy. Quite a bit. Boom. Nice hit on the destroyer. Immediately knocked him down to 50%, and he's flooding as well. Good hit from the Zhejiang. Let's see if we can... Nope, we can't finish it off because I lost him. Is that another destroyer? That's not a destroyer, that's a cruiser. Let's say that your pen chance is probably pretty good. Since it's only a cruiser. Are we doing on damage here? 95. Not very good. The game is now thinking that this might be a battleship. I think that's a bit optimistic. This is probably not a battleship. What can we see about it? It does have some fairly sizable guns for a cruiser. Could this be their battlecruiser? Is that what I'm looking at? That's possible. A lot of secondaries as well, casemate guns. But so far, I don't see them fire yet. With a fire set on that ship, I think we're gonna have to get closer if I want to really take down those battleships. You know what their speed is? 23 knots. At best. And I'm still kiting away from them at 16.5. Ooh, you're getting close there. Accuracy is really quite nice. But it's just not quite good enough yet. Oh, and he's smoked up. Probably not his own doing. I think that might be courtesy of one of his allies. Because I don't believe that that's a light cruiser. The only ships in this game which can smoke up are light cruisers and destroyers. And I don't think that that is a light cruiser. It does have way too much armament. Alright, let's get all the ships currently to work over this heavy cruiser, as it apparently is. Minimum amount of bulkheads. That's something you might come to regret. It does have a pretty good armor bonus though, 90%. My chance to pen is 66%. So let's get the ship switching to AP and see how quickly we can get rid of this battlecruiser. Oh sorry, heavy cruiser, not the battlecruiser. Good underwater hit. So far my ships are doing quite well. They haven't really taken any extremely serious hits. And sure enough they've been withered down a little bit. But that was to be expected. Especially the Jiagang is taking a bit of fire. So I'm going to try and shift their position slightly further forward, making them a less interesting target. Just go flank speed. And hope that the Lanzhou can start tanking for a bit. If you want to call a battlecruiser a tank. Which might be a bit optimistic. Triumph is probably not quite going to live up to its name today. It's going to sink due to flooding. There you go. That's the first kill. The first of many as far as I'm concerned. 21%... 21? That's pretty good. 21% chance to pen. Still, I'm kind of expecting their destroyers to come close. Which so far hasn't materialized. But then again, we still have a little under 2 hours left of this fight. So there's plenty of opportunity for these guys to come close. HE, HE. Just continue peppering the battleship here. We're down to 85% on it. Oh shit, that was bad. Lanzhou took a big hit. Need to kite away at a slightly steeper angle, because I think I'm making the penetration for the enemy warships too good. Let's not. These ships are ideal at kiting away. Just look at that turret setup. For now, it really, really works well. Especially the bow turret also joins in. Secondaries, of course, not an issue. Secondaries won't really hit anything at this range anyway. Pobeda, 17-inch guns with 8-inch secondaries. The Sviatoy Alexander, also 17-inch guns with 7-inch secondaries, which are already firing. And then there's something else, and this is probably another cruiser. They weren't going to build 3 battleships, so this might be their battlecruiser. Standard amount of bulkheads on the Sviatoy, and the Pobeda has few bulkheads. Armor quality is very high, 90%, with 15.6-inch maximum armor. Whereas this one has 10.5-inch. So this might be slightly easier to sink. So yeah, I only have 12% chance to pen on the Pobeda. I'm much more likely to first sink the Sviatoy, and then maybe even cross the T on the Pobeda. Making sure that he doesn't get those aft guns to fire, those aft 17-inch. Because I think his reload is pretty bad. 65 seconds. Let's just let the game run for a bit. You're pretty much in position at this point. Slow to 16. Shit. Nanchang, slow to 12. Increase to 18. Slow to 14. Just trying to keep everybody more or less together. We got another smoke screen over here. Potentially incoming destroyers. Oh, we destroyed an engine. On what? Oh, we're targeting the battlecruiser. And doing good damage at it too. Chance to pen, 57%. In that case, I'm going to switch to AP. I want you to fire at the battlecruiser as well. All AP. Oh shit, we lost them. Well, not entirely. We still had a couple of rounds in the air. He's going to be hurting for a bit. Alright, so it's back to HE. Seeing as my chances to pen the Alexander are not great. Okay, the Perm. What's the Perm doing at this point? 15.8 knots. Can we finish it off? Yep, they're once again targeting the Perm. All ships are targeting the Perm. So once again, let's just set it to auto, and this one continuously firing at the Sviatoi. How's our angle? Whoa, 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 whoa! Shagang! Don't do that. Unless you want to live. Turn, 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 turn. You're way too close to the enemy. Way too close. I think I set it to attack. And it took that command a little too literally and decided to close in. And hope to do damage it that way. Oh shit, those rounds are coming really close. Let's use that 36 knots and get the hell out. Still doing damage to the Sviatoi. Shit, that was bad. Conning tower damaged. I'm gonna feel that on accuracy. It just went down to 3%. That's what I get for not paying attention to where my ships are going and at what speed. Slow down. You're gonna speed up again. 15 knots. For the moment, I'm mostly keeping the destroyers at bay. I think they might not be very quick, those destroyers. Sviatoi is getting whittled down, but not fast enough for my taste. Once again, set a fire. Another fire set. Pan chance is still pretty bad. Yeah, 19%. This thing has conning tower damaged and fire control damaged. Its accuracy is down to 1.9%. The Jagang. Let's angle a bit more. Conning tower damaged. I should armor up the conning tower a bit more. Now all guns are on the Pobeda. Destroy the Barbette. I'm not exactly sure how the damage mechanics work in this game. Maybe having a destroyed Barbette makes you more susceptible to getting an ammo detonation. Maybe. I'm not exactly sure. The game doesn't really tell you. Or I haven't quite been able to figure it out. Alright, so the only accurate ship that we still have is the Lanzhou. At 6%. And for the rest, we're just relying on volume. Hoping that I can put out enough shells to do enough damage against the Pobeda and others. I think the Alexander might be a bit slower than it was. 23. Sorry, the Alexander is doing 15.5 and this one's doing 23 knots. Interestingly, it should be capable of doing more, but it's just not doing it. Curious. Now, I have considered just putting up only games where I actually get kills on the enemy, where I destroy the enemy, where my ships survive. But I think that's, A, not fair, and B, not always entertaining to watch. Because it doesn't really teach you anything. It teaches you, yes, this design works. But, for example, now I know that I need to really keep a close eye on how much my battlecruisers are actually angled in, how much damage they're actually doing, and how much shells they're taking. Just putting up only replays or gameplay where the enemy completely gets eradicated by your ships, I think it's pretty boring. And I think it's not accurate. So that's why you're more often than not seeing games where I don't win. And I imagine other YouTubers might only put up games where they win, where they just completely wipe out the enemy, or build crazy designs. I don't know. Their choice. This is the way that I do it. Now I could close in on this ship in little under an hour, because he is running out of rounds. He's down to 180. The Alexander still has a lot more. So maybe the Pobeda either fired more, or... I'm not even sure. Maybe the other ship had the increased ammo count, and the Pobeda design doesn't. Fire set. How's my ammo supply? 470, 526, 460. That should be enough. I'm still seeing smoke screens in the distance here, but they're not really getting close. For some reason or another. Bit of damage. I was hoping that the ship would run out of ammo, but it's not firing. Might be a good thing, you could argue, because it means that I'm not being subjected to that level of fire. I am still detected, considering how much rounds are flying in. Now, I have 70 minutes. These ships still need quite a bit of damage. The Alexander is still firing. No surprise, because it has 570 rounds, or 530 rounds remaining. Maybe I need to close in a bit more. Play a little bit more risky. Oh shit, where are you going? Lanza, we're gonna push in. Nanchong, same. Penchants, probably pretty bad. 11%. Okay, just to make sure that the AI doesn't pick the wrong shells, I'm gonna manually set it to HE. You got really far away. I think concentrated firepower would be important here. Fire damage. I wonder where the destroyers are. Shit, flooding. Now the closer I get, the better my pan chance is going to get. Currently up to 12. He's still not firing. Does the AI possibly set it to save ammo once it gets into that yellow area of... Oh shit, I'm running out of rounds. There it is. Now it's firing again. Oh, and doing good damage too. Lanzhou taking a beating from the battleship. Alright, angle in. Although, that smokescreen is at... Oh shit, we're gonna lose the Lanzhou. That smokescreen is at 7 clicks out. There are the destroyers. All of them. And probably their light cruiser too. Kite maneuvers. Finally, good damage. Funnel destroyed. I'm not sure if I have to sink the battleships. If I can sink everything else, maybe that's enough. Whoa, Lanzhou. I'm really not controlling my ships properly now. Rudder's been damaged. It cannot really turn as much as I would like. I wonder if you can even hit these things accurately. A destroyer doesn't need much. It's such a fragile ship. Yeah, there goes the Lanzhou. And the Lanzhou was apparently the only ship that was actually doing any spotting. on the destroyers. Okay, so I think we can conclude that the kiting battleships don't really work. Or the kiting battlecruisers. Or maybe they do work, but I'm just not employing them properly. That's an alternative interpretation. I'll let you guys be the judge down in the comments. I'm still really looking forward to the campaign on this one. Just having all sorts of different classes that you can build, researching new tech, deciding whether you, for example, you want to get radar earlier or torpedoes earlier, improve your gun accuracy. There's all sorts of different ways that you can take, different options. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting to play. I have no idea when it's coming out. Sooner rather than later, I hope. Yeah, we're probably going to lose the Jia gang as well. The Pobeda seems to be moving away. Interesting. It's down to 92 rounds, this battlecruiser. After that, it's down to 8-inch guns. If I had enough time, I might be able to just gun it down. But then again, I'm taking also 8-inch guns to a battleship, which is probably pretty optimistic. Let's get the Nanchong. I'm also definitely missing radar. If you pick the gunfire upgrades or the gun accuracy upgrade for the start of the mission, you're going to get radar. That is such a massive help. And it's really, really useful, not just in targeting, but also in spotting. And right now, I'm really feeling the lack of that technology. Because I'm just not spotting the destroyers. And so far, I haven't seen a single torpedo. Doesn't mean they're not there. But I'm also not exactly sure where the destroyers are currently, other than somewhere between me and the battleships. And I don't really have any way of figuring it out fast either. We're once again at maximum range, aren't we? Yeah, is it 16 kilometers out? Save ammo. Because we too are running low on ammunition. There's the smoke screen again. Alright, screw it. We're gonna turn in. Maximum speed. One last valiant effort. Oh, interestingly, radar position finding, or radio position finding says stern. Stern and here, off to the bow. Bow/port side. See that arrow down there? I'll just follow this one. I wonder if this ship automatically changes speed. I don't think it does. Anyway, overall, I think I had way too much speed on these ships. They were too fast. And I was not using most of that speed. So next time I can just make sure that they go to, let's say, 28 knots. Maybe get an extra ship. Maybe get more armament on them. At least not all of that speed. Or trade speed for armor. Making sure I have more armor and less speed. Just get the engine efficiency up so that I can accelerate and juke my speed if I want to. While at the same time being more tanky. Where are you going? The battleships are just running off. I hope I can catch them in 30 minutes. Even so, if I could catch them, I wouldn't kill them. 14-inch HE is just not good enough. Alright, at least want to sink another ship. Possibly a destroyer. There's the smoke screen again. Currently 10 kilometers out. And I think it's still a bug, but you can more or less follow where there is at least one ship here. 10.8. I don't think they're going to be as fast as I am. Not anywhere in that range. He's doing 20, he's doing 19. Right. So you can sort of cheat your way through. Here, I can see what the ship has. 5-inch guns, 3-inch guns, and torpedoes. Not what type, caliber, etc. Don't know anything about that. But they're pretty passive for destroyers. My destroyers would have probably been right in their face. Something else that I'm not quite sure about is how much does the AI take into account what their mission is. Because their mission might be sink enemy ships, or their mission might be survive. In which case, kiting away like this, just leaving the area, makes total sense. Because they don't need to fight. They just need to fight me long enough to make sure that either I lose ships, or that my ships are no longer a threat. By just making sure that they have enough range to them. Anyway, these battleships do 20 knots, so I'm 16 knots faster. Although both ships are not exactly getting there. They're doing 30. So I'm closing in on them. But it's not them that I want. .5% chance to hit. 4.4. Going down a little. Thanks to own maneuver, probably. That thing has a massive amount of ammo on it. This Fiat toy. It still has 368 rounds from main ammo. And another 2,000 for 7-inch. This one's still down to 92. So you could more or less just outgun the Pobeda. Hope that it runs out of ammo and then try to pepper it. What's the range to that smoke screen? 7. It's getting serious. Now what did I do most damage with? Penetration. Still. Partial pen, 100 rounds, doing 1.5. 9 penetrations, doing 3.5. So penetrations are what you want. I think the penetration damage that we did was against the cruiser. That we sunk, I don't know, an hour in or something. Pretty soon, anyway. 6, 8, 6, 7. Where are the destroyers? So I might try a design like this similar, but with different tech. Not really the speed and maneuverability tech. Because while I like maneuvers, at this range, it doesn't really matter. Whereas being able to hit your target, that would matter. Oh, I also get damage instability penalty. There you go. Destroyed the main tower. That's gonna cut into my accuracy again. Uh-oh. How accurate are you getting? 14%. That's gonna be fun. Screw it, open up. It is just one gun. Or 2 guns on 1 turret. If the AI really is clever about their use of torpedoes, they just torpedo me in general. Just send out a couple of torpedoes, because I'm more or less holding a steady course trying to get closer to the ships. Oh shit, 5 clicks out. So if they could just deploy a defensive torpedo screen, they could pretty easily force me to either turn around, which would make my ships easier to hit for the destroyer, or for the battleships, while at the same time keeping me at range, which is where they currently seem to have the advantage, because their fire control is all intact. Mine, not so much. Finally, a destroyer. 4 clicks out. I just lost him. Oh, I just not lost... Whoa, whoa, whoa. I lost 3 turrets. All stern turrets are destroyed. I only have the bow turret left. Oh shit, how is this ship doing? The ship still has 2 turrets on the stern. Okay, I need to up armor my turrets as well. And again, if you're still watching at this point, I imagine you have a lot of critique about how I play the game. That's fine. I'm still learning, and I'm open to suggestions. But comments that are just saying, oh my god, you're so shit at the game, those really don't help anyone. That really doesn't help anyone. It just makes you a poor person. Or at least very poor at communication. Come on, can we get the destroyer, please? The 8-inch secondaries are firing with a whole 0.2% chance. Oh, damn. There you go. That's what I want to see. These ships don't need much, especially not from a 14-inch. And I lost him again. Maintain speed. There it is again. The crachette. Keep going for it. Ah, time's up. Right. Lessons learned. Need more turret armor, because they keep knocking out my turrets. That's 1. 2, I will probably need radar in this mission to keep firing at long range instead of just shorter range. So next time I'm going to have to enhance firepower. And I think the kiting tactic could work, but maybe not with a battlecruiser. Maybe with a Dreadnought. And of course you have one more alternative, and that's destroyers. You could go with a whole fleet of destroyers. So you pick Destroyer 3. Let's say you max out the displacement. You throw on a main tower. You throw on a secondary tower. Or you might not even need that. And you just go with torpedoes, 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 torpedoes. Just all day. Throw on a funnel. You would build 29 destroyers. I have no idea how you would manage 29 destroyers. But you would have 29 destroyers launching torpedoes at 8 kilometers out. Which is pretty dreadful. Because at 8 kilometers out, you just cannot hit stuff without being killed off. You just couldn't get into range. Even at the 20-inch torpedoes, even with... Oh, I cannot even get electric. Fast torpedoes are even worse, because you're sacrificing 50% range. So yeah, torpedoes probably wouldn't work. Anyway, you're going to be seeing this mission again some other time when I have figured out another design. For now, I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. And if you want it, it is down below in the description. Link there. Thank you for watching. See you soon for more videos.